We're studying Parashat Re'eh, page 998. This week's Torah portion. And I want to take you through a few topics that come up in this parasha that are emet, amitiim, that are true. This parasha is fitting for me this week. This week I've been dealing with a lot of drama surrounding decisions I made to help people that I didn't get anything from. But it was the truth. The truth was that I needed to help them. That I didn't get anything from it. It was easier for me to just say, Shalom aleichem nafshi, you go do whatever you need to do, leave me alone. And Baruch Hashem, we upset a number of people because we helped them. And now the whole week I've been eating the suffering from those decisions. It won't last for a while. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you, I'm putting before you a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you listen to me, the curse if you don't listen to me. So at some point in time there's going to have to come a bracha from this because I listened to him. So whatever is happening now seems like a curse, but really those who didn't listen, those actions were incorrect. And those who did, they are correct. And I think a lot of times in life we think we do something right and then we don't feel like it was right. And I should have just been bad like everybody else. And that's not the truth. The truth is that you don't know when and how something is perceived like a blessing and something is perceived like a curse. But trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu that when He promises you follow my path, it'll be a bracha, it'll happen. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not in the way that you understand it to happen. But it'll happen correctly. Famous stories in our history of people who somebody was late, they stayed praying a little bit later and they ended up not showing up to work and they were going to get in trouble with their boss, but what can they do? And that something happened at work and they were saved because they made the right choice. They didn't think that was going to be a blessing. And they thought they were going to get fired at work. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has plans. I want to take you to the emet, the truth, not my chidushim. I want to take you to the Torah of my Rabbi Yonatan Halevy. Re'eh, see. Anochi noten lifnechem hayom. I am putting before you today beracha uklala, a blessing and a curse. Et haberacha asher tishmor mitzvot Adonai Elohechem, asher anochi mitzavetchem hayom. The bracha will be that you listen to my mitzvot that Hashem is calling you today. V'kenara, and the curse, im lo tishmor mitzvot Adonai Elohechem v'sartem min haderech asher anochi mitzavetchem hayom, lalechet achrei Elohim acherim asher lo yeda'atem. The curse will be for a person to go down the other road of following gods that we didn't know before. The first thing that pops out to you here is the word Re'eh. Re'eh is you. You should see in singular. You should see that I put before you, but really that second you is not a you. It's if you were in Texas, you would say y'all. Yeah. The second you is in plural. So you listen that I'm putting before you a blessing and a curse. Are you talking to me or are you talking to them? Who are you talking to? Who's Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to here? So then why does he speak in the singular? Why does he say you?
Because when Israel is obeying the Torah, they're one.
So then speak to us in plural.
But if one of them goes out of sync, then they're not one anymore.
So then it should do your sentiment is correct. And there are other parashiyot where that would be then it should speak in plural and then speak to the individual. Here speaking to the individual and then plural.
He's speaking to every single person and everybody.
Because
It's not like he means I want to talk to you and to you and to you, to every single person.
Here, here's a cup of apple juice. It's for all of you. What does Alon's cup of apple juice have to do with you? You want to, meaning if I put the bottle and say, hey guys, apple juice for everybody at the table. But if I put, I'll refill on the, but if I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking for you. You make a choice of a blessing and a curse before you. L'maaseh, what you learn from here is that your individual choices affect everybody else. You think that when I make a choice not to follow Hashem, that it's so what? It's my choice. You think when I make a choice to follow Hashem, that was my choice. What you don't realize is you affect everybody. You affect the whole Jewish people, you affect the whole world, you affect the universe. For the positive, or chas v'shalom, for the negative. Either way. There's a rational way to understand this. What's rational? If you make a choice to follow Hashem, to do what is good, how do you positively affect everybody else? If you're a good person, you do business, people benefit with doing business with an honest person.
Yeah.
Today I was speaking with somebody in the field of construction, this world. I met with them this morning. And they told me there are people in the field of construction that they have salespeople, they do sales. And let's say they come to your house, they pitch you a new bathroom for X amount of money. And you say, no, I'm sorry. So tomorrow the same company sends 2 salesmen back to you again. Pitches you a bathroom. It's a different company, name, but it's the same people. They have 6 or 7 or 8 companies that are all doing the same job. They're all the same people. But they come to you every day with a different name until you just, fine, okay, I'll do the bathroom. Not much like that. Everyone says, it's hard to stay straight in a world that's not straight. I knew of a company. Baruch Hashem, the FBI cut them. Why is it Baruch Hashem? Baruch Hashem. I knew of a company that they were in the world of home improvement. But they also had friends that had a bank. And they'll go to some old couple somewhere. Imagine you go to a neighborhood. Oh, your kitchen's falling apart. You guys should renovate your kitchen. How much is it going to cost us? Now let's say the kitchen's going to cost $10,000. They say, this kitchen? I mean, look, you have mold over here. Yeah, mold. These guys don't know mold, they don't know paint and mold, they don't know the difference between this. And that's $120,000. We can't pay $120,000. Oh, don't worry, you're already pre-approved for a loan. Yeah, the friends from the bank already pre-approved them for a loan because in 3 years, these people are not going to be able to pay their house anymore. And the bank just got a house.
Everybody making money.
And you know what happens in the world of business when they call this? Shh, that's a shark. That's a good businessman. No, it's a crook. It's a criminal. You know who's a good businessman? The one that comes to your house and says, you know that kitchen? Listen, let's say it should cost you, if you call somebody else, it'll cost you 10 grand. I could do it for 8. And they do it for 8. That's a good businessman.
And they do a good job.
If they do a good job.
No, and they do.
And they do a good job. I mean, this is an honest person. Your honesty is going to pay back. Doesn't feel like it? You're right. Because the other person is taking a cruise around the world and they go, you want that life? Or you want the life of, I work honestly. It's not as appealing. I know the world doesn't make it so exciting. But it's so much more wholesome. I go to sleep at night, nobody's going to be in trouble because of me. Nobody's hurting because of me, and there's nothing that I did that's wrong. I once was in Brooklyn and visiting somebody, and someone gave me a ride there. We pulled up to this place. The park in Brooklyn is also possible to find a place to park. So where did he park? In the fire lane. You out of your mind? Who parks in the fire lane? It's dangerous. Who cares? It's dangerous. I don't care. I mean, you understand? If someone's house is going to burn down, it's going to be this person's fault that the fireman can't get to the... There are pictures in Brooklyn. They have even once a Facebook page about this. People park in front of the pumps all the time. And the firefighters, when they show up to a fire, they break both windows just for the fun of it. And they put the hose through the person's car. Just to teach them a lesson. Are you crazy? Someone could die because of you. The extra 5 seconds it takes us to hook up a hose because you parked in front of there could save someone's life. But there are people who are stupid. I said, okay, at least you get towed. Imagine, it's time you get towed. They take you to Miramar. You know where to go. You have to pay $400, but you know where it is. In Brooklyn, they tow you. You don't even know where you're going. The cities have millions of people in there. You don't even know which place they took you. You have to spend a day finding your car. And you're not afraid of it. this 10 seconds you save now, instead of going around the block, you're going to spend a whole day looking for your car. He says, no, Rabbi, come on, you think I'm stupid? This car I get from a leasing company. Every 3 months I change cars, so I don't have to put on plates. And the VIN number, I have it covered or something. And so when the cop comes, they can't tow my, and I don't know if this is true, but this is what they claim, they can't tow my car unless they can report that they towed my car. And if I don't have a VIN number showing there's no plates, and I'm not there, there's no way they're allowed to tow my car.
Good way to do it. If they
You know, I was thinking to myself a little bit,
Like that's
I feel like such an idiot. You know, I go around Brooklyn, I spend the whole day looking for parking. And then a HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed me. So I went for dinner, came back, and then as I comes down for the apartment, he says, oh my gosh, they took my car! They took my car! They start freaking out. They told me, finally, how did they tow my car? They start calling his friend, they towed his car. They didn't tow his car. They just forgot where he parked it. It wasn't by this fire hydrant, it was by the other fire hydrant. But you know that anxiety, you know, that panic attack you just had? If you park your car in a safe place, you'll never have that panic attack. Because you know, you park in a place you're allowed to park. I mean, who knows, in Brooklyn they might take a car anyways. But you park in a safe place, in a correct place, in a legal place, you could sleep the whole night. You don't have to worry that maybe someone's taking your car in the middle of the night. You don't prefer to live like that? I mean, there's a way of life that when you choose to live a good life, you're really not the loser. People call you a loser, but you're not the loser. You're the one, your life is already a bracha. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to be afraid about anything. You don't have to apologize for anything. I once spoke with a tzaddik, a righteous person. And that conversation made me very jealous. That there's no tzaddik, King David says, there's no righteous person that doesn't do wrong. But this righteous person, someone I'm still close to. So when I come to Yom Kippurim, and there's a whole list of things you have to ask forgiveness for, he says, do you know how good it feels to be able to skip 90% of those paragraphs? While everyone else is mumbling and beating their chest, I don't have to say it. I know you might sound that it's arrogant, which is why I'll never say who it is. Someone who's really a righteous person. That's an incredible feeling. Instead of being afraid of Yom Kippurim, you say, listen, Hashem, I know there's 2 or 3 things I messed up this year, and I'm going to talk to you about them. Everything else, I know I did perfect. You know what that feeling is like? Why would you want to live in another way? You come to Yom Kippurim, you can't even count all the things you did wrong. I don't even remember, maybe the last month, but 6 months ago what I did wrong, Hashem, you're going to have to figure it out, because I don't remember. I'm glad someone's keeping track of this. It's a blessing to live your life correctly, and it's a curse to live your life incorrectly. And when you're the kind of person who follows a proper path, all the people around you are blessed. A rabbi say, Oy l'rasha, oy l'shcheno. Woe to an evil person, but even worse to his neighbor. Because he has to put up with you. You think you're just evil for yourself. But your evil affects everybody else. Your bad choices affect everybody else. Our HaShamayim, and here I'm not judging anybody, and anyone who needs professional help for this matter shouldn't feel judged by me. It's a conversation to have. Our rabbis say, and they always tell you, if you have a tattoo, you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery. It's not true. I mean, I think some grandmother made that up to tell their kids, like, you know, be careful, because they won't even bury you in a Jewish cemetery. That's true. According to Jewish law, you can't get tattoos. That's true. But that's, the consequence of that is not you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery. It's not. That's like you know, that's how the grandmas kept us in line. What makes you not able to be buried in a Jewish cemetery?
Kill yourself.
A person who commits suicide. A person who commits suicide, we don't mourn for them. We don't say Kaddish for them. We don't bury them in the Jewish cemetery. We don't. Whoever wants to bury them, we don't even get involved. Sounds very harsh. And I'll tell you the truth. In the last 200 years, since the forgery of a letter that then caused rabbis to consider it maybe a fact, but anyways, we consider a person who commits suicide today, most of the time, not a person who did so willingly, did so with a clear, sane mind. Oftentimes, no one should ever know the kind of pressure that leads a person to decide to take their own life. And because of that, we don't treat a suicide victim that harshly. In fact, most of the time we treat them like a victim of something else, a mental illness or whatever other condition it might be. I'm talking about the halakha side, not practically what we would do. Why is it so harsh? Why are we to the point where we don't even care about the person who's doing this action? See, people think they're in a hard place, so they'll just take their life, they'll end it. But one thing they're completely not calculating is, what about the agony and the suffering and the pain they caused to everybody around them? How many times here in San Diego there's a story, a Jewish man jumped off the Coronado Bridge. Left a wife and kids, and great, he solved his problems. He left a wife to raise kids. If he had a financial difficulty, what about her? She didn't have? The kids, what about them? Who allowed a person to be so arrogant? And that's a hard thing to say, because in our mind being programmed to speak kindly. The point is still true, even if you're going to treat someone differently today because of circumstances. Every arrogant, selfish person causes the people around them to suffer. I know a person who's very wealthy, but they cannot do one act of kindness without getting paid for it. They can't. They have a sickness. By the way, the person being sick doesn't exempt them from someone that has a sickness. They like to kill people. It doesn't exempt the person from their... Just because the devil told you to doesn't mean it gets you off the hook. The whole world suffers because of people like that. And to the contrary, there are people who are a blessing to the world. Everybody they know, they make them smile, they make them happy. Once our rabbis tell us, the Talmud, that Eliyahu Navi was walking down the street, Elijah the prophet, and he sees these two jokesters, they go to Balboa Park and there's all these street performers and those kind of people. This one was making, they were making jokes, they were like, have a silly routine, like two clowns, imagine. And Eliyahu Navi stops and says, I'm jealous of you. You have a portion in the world to come that we don't have. You're like, wait a second, hold on, stop. We're just two jokesters in the street. That people who make other people happy have a whole different place in the world. Because you make people that are sad smile. You give hope to people that are down. To be a good person is a blessing to everyone around you. And indirectly, on a non-rational level, when righteous people exist, the rest of us are able to fly in their shoulders. And when evil people exist, they pass judgment on all of us also. A society which allows evil to exist is guilty by association. And a society that allows righteousness to exist is guilty in a positive way by association. Throughout the generations, we've had Jews that are more observant and less observant, and more connected and less connected. The common denominator used to be, though, that those who were not as connected still wanted to make sure that those who were taken care of. There used to be a world in which people said, listen, I don't keep Shabbat, I don't eat kosher. I want to make sure that the Chachamim, the scholars, they're able to eat, they're able to study, they're able to learn, because I believe in the value of that even if I can't bring myself to live that way. Because it's a community that understands they are doing something for me. In a world like today, I didn't ask them to study. I didn't ask them to pray. So what's not my problem? No, you're going to have the high holidays. People get very excited about the high holidays. Like, look how many hundreds of Jews around the world come to synagogue on the high holidays. I remember as a kid, high holidays time, in a synagogue that had 40 or 50 people inside of it. All of a sudden it comes high holidays, 350 chairs. Wow, 300. Now listen, there's a positive side to it. At least Jews remember once a year they're Jewish. That's wonderful. Wow, I came for Yom Kippur. Unbelievable. On the other hand, what are the 50 of us that are here the whole year? That when there's no minyan, we're the ones who wake up and make the minyan. When nobody pays the bills, we're the ones who stand up and pay the bills. It's nice that we keep this going so you could show up once a year. But where's your responsibility to this operation the rest of the year? Not just on a financial level, on an emotional level, on a support level, on a showing your face level. I once asked me, what would happen if this synagogue couldn't last until next year high holidays and it would fold and shut down? Oh, we'll just go to the next synagogue. So why are you taking my chair? Why are you taking my uncle's aliyah? Why are you occupying the kids' room and my kid has to sit outside? Is it harsh? Of course it's harsh. I always like to be welcoming and warm. Hey, everyone's welcome. It's the truth. The truth is, we're also enabling a group of people to say, hey, you could just be a little selfish. And Judaism has a lot of room for a lot of things. But selfish people is not one of them. Hashem says a person who's selfish, the Creator says, a person who's selfish, I can't live in the same world as them. So they have to make a choice. Either they live or I live. But if they want to exist, I have to step out. Hashem said, me and him, we can't live in the same place. Where there are arrogant, selfish people, there's a void of spirituality. It can't be that you're both arrogant, selfish, and you're a righteous person. It can't be. I'm giving you a choice to determine how the rest of us are going to look like. You have to make a choice. And it's not a choice just for yourself. You will inevitably affect everybody around you. And when you make a positive decision, don't think you're the loser. Everybody gains because of you. Even if you don't feel it right now, you set an example for somebody else. There are people that I remember. As a child, I want to grow up and be like that person. I want to grow up, my family should look like that. I want to grow up and be a rabbi like that. I want to grow up. You give an example for people to look up to. That's a blessing in and of itself. Think about the Kehillat here. Who's Elchanan going to look up to? Who? Not just me. There's a certain age where people don't want to be like their parents. There has to be other people. You say, well, look, these are good people. I want to be like these good people. I want to be like them. And if someone makes a choice in the Kehillat to go down a bad road, just know that it's not just you you're dragging down. You're dragging down my kids also. It's a way, sure. Jewish guilt is something we were serious about. This is Jewish guilt at its best. Moshe says, make a choice, but don't think the choice is yours. There's a famous mashal, a parable that our rabbis give us. So on you go on a cruise, so there's all kinds of decks and levels and where you want to be and which kind of room, what kind of view, and how close you are to the pool, how close you are to the bar. All kinds of things you pay with it. If somebody took like a economy basic fare, a little room at the bottom of the ship, and this guy decides, it's too much of a walk up these stairs to the 15th deck to the pool. I want a pool in my room. So he takes his drill, starts drilling the side of the cruise ship. Water starts coming in. He's like, he has his rubber ducky out. He's floating in his bag. He's singing songs to himself. The ship starts tilting in direction. Starts banging down. Hey, you crazy stuff! So this is my room. I paid for my room. You don't tell me what to do in here. People do it all the time. It's my life. Don't tell me how I should live my life. Yes, it's true. If you were just a person on shore, I can't tell you to live your life. But we're all on the same boat together. We're sailing somewhere, and you decided to drill a hole in the wall of your room. That's not a luxury that you have. You have many choices you can make in life. You want to sleep in this direction, that's your choice. You want to make a hole in the side of our ship, though, you better believe that we're going to take you up on it. That's Am Yisrael. That's how we operate. We're in the same ship, sailing somewhere. There's a verse in chapter 14. If you go to 14, what page is that? 10:10. Page 10:10, where it says 14:1.
Wait.
Chapter 14.
This is one of the strangest verses we have in this parasha. How does the chapter start? Banim atem l'Adonai Elohechem. You are children to Hashem your God. Lo titgodedu. Don't cut yourself. V'lo tasimu kolcha ben enechem lamet. And don't make a bald spot. A bald spot between your eyes for a dead person. Ki am kadosh atah Adonai Elohecha, for you are a holy people to Hashem your God. Uvecha bachar Adonai yoto la'am sgulam, and Hashem has chosen you to be chosen from the whole nation, mikol amim, for all the nations, ashel pnei hadama, on the face of the earth. Okay, Hashem is going to tell you, you be a chosen people. How do you do that? Don't cut yourself and don't make bald spots. What are you talking about? Kind of very strange pasuk. You could say, hey, don't cut yourself, don't make bald spots, fine. Maybe because you're holy, you shouldn't make it, fine. But I chose you, you're my children, don't do this to yourself. The whole discussion is very interesting. You know, the commentaries on this verse, there may be 6 or 7 or 8 different approaches to read this verse. I want to try to mush a few of them together. Why do people rip their hair out or cut themselves? What is he talking about? I'll actually look here. Actually,
Like in
yeah,
the
very
morning.
good. A sign of mourning. Someone passes away, people start tearing their hair out, cutting their skin. Why?
They're suffering.
They're
They're suffering.
It's like a way to release their sadness. They feel like.
Yeah. Meaning it's an expression of a very intense sadness. It's like a devastation. I mean, my life's not even worth it. Don't. The Rishonim, Rabbi Avraham ibn Ezra of Spain tells us, you're children of Hashem. If anybody isn't, if the Amorites want to rip out their hair because someone passes away, because they don't believe in another world, they don't believe in the creator of the world, they don't believe that everything that happens in the world is for the good, we get it. But how could you do that? When someone passes away, in Jewish tradition, there's a sadness that we feel of someone leaving us, but not a feeling of, that's it, life's over. It's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. The end of the world starts another world. Life's over here. It starts over somewhere else. It's such a terrible thing. Not necessarily. It feels terrible to us. But there's a creator to the world who has order to this world, who understands why things happen in this world. It's a difficult thing to wrap our head around. Death is not an easy conversation. We started talking about it about Teshuvah the other night, Tuesday. And I can't promise that we'll ever understand it. But things that we can stay away from are feelings that this is the end. If you really believe this is the end, it's so devastating that it can't. There's something lacking in your connection to the creator of the world who calls you his children. Hashem, this is difficult for me. But I believe that this must be correct. What do we say when a person passes away? Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Blessed is the true judge. What is a true judge? When a person goes to court and they lose, how do you feel? You're in a lawsuit. You thought you were going to win. You lost. Most people are angry at the judge. Most people. Most people are angry at the other person on the other stand. It always amazes me. When a legal system decides to punish somebody, people celebrate. When the same legal system decides to exonerate somebody, they get very upset at the legal system. Now, I don't believe very much in many legal systems, but if you trust the system when it punishes someone, how can you not trust it when it exonerates someone also? If you believe in this process, then this process decided that this person is innocent, or at least not guilty enough to hurt them the way you want to. Accept that as truth. If you went to court against somebody else, and you believe the judge is the one who's going to decide between you, then don't be upset now that you lost. And that was what you went in knowing. For you, that's also a victory. The truth happened. In the world also, there are times we wish something would have happened another way. We wish. But we're in this world because we believe that there's a creator who created it and there's an understanding of why things happen. And so at the end of the worst, when we don't have what to say, we say, Baruch Dayan. Actually, we don't understand at all, but we believe that you know what you've done. That's the most we can say. So in general, in the world today, we don't have this kind of relationship with anybody. In the older world, there were kings. A king decided something, you're not going to Hashtag not my king. It doesn't happen. You're not going to do that. It's like you do that and they're hanging you also. Moshe, when you live in a country, it was amazing. I saw this rally somewhere in the United States. People against the government, not necessarily the federal government. It was a state situation, and they were rioting. The police are fascist pigs and da 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 da. And look, the police were not doing anything to them. You want to try doing that in Saudi Arabia? See what happens to you? What are you doing it in Turkey? You want to do it somewhere else? You want to try doing that 100 years ago somewhere else? Just the fact that you can do that tells you that these people are not fascist. There might be you might not like them. This I'll accept. But use your words very correctly. They're Nazis. If they were Nazis, they'd be putting you in a concentration camp already. That word is not one to be used lightly. Only a stupid person uses that word lightly. You can really hate a person, but be careful what you say. It's not true. Well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's in the world, and we say, Hashem, I really struggle with what you're doing right now. But I accept, because I believe you know better than me. It used to be like this also in the world of students and teachers. You don't have this anymore either. I'll tell you the truth is, I don't blame the students. Today you have teachers that are, they're teachers, then we're in trouble. It's like people used to respect their parents, blindly. Even when they didn't agree, their parents are parents are parents, what do you say? I know people that have the worst parents in the world, but parents are parents. You see a generation, listen, I know why. You should see some of these parents. The parents can't even take care of themselves. They can take care of a kid. The parents don't even know how to, in the middle of the day, which straight line they should walk up. You want their kids to respect them also? My wife, the social worker, gets mad at me. You have to have a license in this country to drive a car. It's not so hard to drive a car. You have to get a license for it. You have to get a license to get married. You have to get a register to vote. All kinds of things you have to do in this country. Why do you have to have a license to have kids? Who gave you the right to have kids? I can't control what you're doing in your house. But you have kids? Oh, you didn't pass the parenting course? Good, you're going to leave them in the hospital. Sounds crazy? I know. I sound like a socialist right now. I know I sound like that. Do you know how many kids grow up in houses where they're abused? Where they're hurt? Where they live in fear? And by the time we meet them at the age of 18, who in the world can rehabilitate someone like that? You set up a child for failure. But to drive a car, you need a license. To ruin someone else's life, you don't need. Child Protective Services. And by the time these people show up somewhere, and then when they show up, what happens? They take somebody, you put them in a foster home. What happened then? So the foster parent beats them and abuses them and hurts them, and then what happened? Someone goes to an orphanage. They spend 15 years trying to be adopted by nobody, because nobody wants them. So how do you respect a parent like that? These parents were people that took their job seriously. They didn't have kids until they knew that they were able to raise them. Says Rabbi Sadia going, what's the point of having children if you're not going to take care of them? Well, just have children so they can scatter around the world and have your last name? That's important for you? When you have children, quality is also important. You want to not just have children, but raise children. Educate children. Hope that they go down, if not your path, at least a good path. That's the most you can try to do. And listen, if that doesn't work out, you try everything you can. It's not on your back. You try. Teachers. Listen, I'm biased because I have a teacher that I can look up to. I have a teacher that I know walks in a path of tzedek, of goodness, of straightforwardness. So my teacher tells me something that I don't like to hear, I accept it because chances are that I'm wrong. It's not a blind faith. It took me many years to reach that place. I've been studying by Laperet since 2008, so 10 years. In my 10 years of being alongside this person, I could dare attack people. Recently, someone attacked me. You're a, what they call me? I don't know, like a sheep rabbi. You follow another rabbi. Who do you think you're? Why should we listen to you if all you do is ask another rabbi questions? You're right. Don't listen to me. I didn't tell anybody you should listen to me. Well, I can tell you should listen to him though. If you want to know. And it's a person who over and over and over again, when I get myself in a situation, I don't know what to do in life. This person knows what he's talking about. Straight like a ruler. You never met a person that can measure something. My rabbi doesn't lie. And people think that, Abraham Lincoln didn't lie. Abraham Lincoln lied. My rabbi doesn't say, tonight you're going to all leave here, Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat's tomorrow night. My rabbi won't tell you Shabbat Shalom tonight because Shabbat didn't start yet. It's not really a lie, because when I say Shabbat Shalom to you tonight, you know that I'm not saying today Shabbat. What am I telling you? That when Shabbat comes, you should have a good Shabbat. But he says, if I teach myself to lie about little things, I'm going to end up lying about big things. If you ask me what time it is, I say, it's 8:45. It's not 8:45. It's 8:40 right now. That's a lie. You taught yourself to lie. So there were 100 people last night at the event. Are you sure there were 100 people? So don't say that number 100. Say there were many people at the event last night. How many people? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question because I can't lie to you. People are going to think you're crazy. Because in the world today, lies are so easy to say. There are some people, I ask them a question, I already know I can't rely on the answer. Hey, how many people were at the event last night? Hundreds of people. They don't know you were there also. And there were only 16 people. But you're already a liar now, because I know. Halevy made my wife a little upset when he gave me my ordination to be a judge for Batei Din, for conversions. Because in there he writes, from what I know, he leads his community properly. Come on, 10 years, that's what I get from Rabbi Pellet? Because Rabbi Pellet is right, he was never here before. So how can he say, I know for a fact that he leads his community in righteousness? You can't say that. So for me, the fact that Rabbi Pellet didn't lie in my certificate, that makes me feel very proud. I mean, this is a real certificate. You want to know? I spoke to somebody Friday night. He came by, mentioned, I was speaking to them. He said, me, I'm not just a rabbi, I'm a rabbinic judge, I'm a dayan. Really? How become a dayan? Well, when I went for my smicha test, I studied for 3 weeks. And at the end of my 3 weeks, when the rabbi was writing a certificate for me in Jerusalem, but he doesn't know this rabbi from Flanders, a random rabbi that gives certificates. He said, you're from America, huh? I said, yeah. There are not a lot of rabbis in America, are there? But you're talking about that. He said, so, what are the chances that you're going to come back here to study to be a judge? So I'll just write here, you're a rabbi and a judge, and hopefully when you have time, you'll study and you'll fill in the blanks. I thank Hashem every day that I don't have a rabbi like that. He doesn't lie. But these are things that happen every single day. Every single day. Every single day. And I'm not even to the ankles of such a truth. Truth is a value. So when I hear people say that, my teacher, my rabbi, my mentor, they say, who do they think they are? I know people like that. You're their rabbi until you say something they don't like to hear. And then, you're not just not their rabbi now you're the worst person that God ever created in the world. And they go around peddling stories about you that they're still making them up because they don't know, they never happened. It's a liability almost. It's the reason why many rabbis choose not to be truthful with people. Because how are they not supposed to trust you? Who says that when I tell you something, instead of being offended, you'll say, you know what, even if I don't agree, let me think about that. So people don't really have teachers today. They don't really have mentors today. And it's not always their fault. Sometimes there's really nobody to look up to. Whenever I was in Israel, I would bring my students in yeshiva to Rabbi Pellet to meet him. So once it's like half an hour. Every sentence he says, I have to translate it to English. He doesn't speak English. And then in half an hour, he says, Rabbi Yonatan, why do you even bring them here? Half an hour, you're busy translating. I mean, I got 10 minutes of speaking in half an hour. What do they get out of it? I said, because they think I'm a rabbi. So I want them to meet a real rabbi so they know what a real rabbi looks like. They shouldn't live in this illusion that this is what a real rabbi looks like. There are real chachamim in the world. You should see what they look like. It's my dream also one day to come to Yerushalayim to see what a real chacham looks like, how a chacham walks, how a chacham eats, how a chacham teaches, how a chacham prays. It's a different planet. If this is how we treat a human being, how much more so Hashem, the creator of the world? When something happens in the world, says Hashem, if you're truly my children and you believe that I chose you, then how do you get so upset at me when I do something? You don't trust me a little bit? You can't trust that I maybe am doing something for the good? Now it's hard. Is it hard? No, nobody said it's easy. This is called emunah. This is called bitachon, trust, not just faith. Trust. What is trust? It's faith and trust. If I just believe somebody, last night I was in the CVS parking lot. 1 o'clock in the morning, my child needed something urgent. I ran out. The only place 24 hours open. I'm in the parking lot, and I'm about to pull out. It's like 1:30. Someone knocks on my window. I'm like, oh my god. And it's like there's a Jerusalem effect. Like someone's walking your window, dark parking lot. I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna see my wife again. Like, who knows? I look at it, it's like a middle-aged American, San Diegan, regular California. I don't know. They don't look someone scary. I open up my window like a crack. Hi, can I help you? He's looking at me. He says, "It's a true story. I can't make this story." He's trying to come. He's like, "Well, I smoke pot." Okay. Thank you very much. What do you want from me? He says, and there's this strain of pot. It's called kosher.
What?
Is pot kosher, or is this just a marketing tactic? At this point in time, you should know, I knew that I was going to see my wife again, I was going to see my kids again, like life was happy again. And I had this fascinating conversation with this guy in the parking lot of CVS of whether things can be kosher, but you might not, maybe you shouldn't do them. Like, it was a fascinating conversation. What about the law? He's like, screw the law. I'm like, okay, I'm a rabbi. And he's got this whole, we spent 15 minutes talking about pot and California and kosher. I didn't want to tell you this story. Oh, faith. Faith is if this guy told me, tomorrow's going to be a hot day. I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is. If I believe him, that's faith. Trust is, let's say Baruch has a deep knowledge of the weather. I'm not saying he does. I had a student, but he was the up-and-coming weatherman. Like, you'd see him in his room with, like, charts, clouds, and all kinds of... He reads the clouds. I don't know how to... This is what he does. And he says, it's going to be hot tomorrow. It's going to be between 80 and 83 tomorrow. And it's 82 degrees. And then he does it for a few months already now. He's telling me things, and they're happening. And then he says, tomorrow it's going to be cold. You should bring a jacket. But the news says, nah, it's been hot the whole week. Just... You bringing a jacket or you're not bringing a jacket? But why? No, because of Baruch?
No, because everything that he says.
He's got a good track record. The track record is that the 99% of times that it's worked out, probably tomorrow he's going to be right also. Hashem has that track record. If 99% of your life he got right, you were born, you're healthy, you have money, you have a job, you have people in your life that love you, you have a place to sleep at night, a lot of things are working out for you. And just something happens in your life, you're mad at Hashem. You're going to throw out 99% because of the 1% you don't understand? You understand why Hashem is good to you? You know what you did that makes Hashem good to you? No. So now you understand why Hashem is bad? You know what's bad and you know what's good? How many people here were in a relationship that didn't work out before? You were really happy when that relationship was happening. Oh, Hashem is so good to me. Then it doesn't happen. Hashem is so bad to me. But today you look back and you say, wait a second, hold on. Being with that person was bad. Leaving that person was the best thing that ever happened to me. See, because what you think is good and bad is not always what's good and bad. One day you're going to be that person looks 3 years back on your ex and like, oh my God, I can't believe we have pictures together with this person. If I only knew today what I knew then. That's the way the whole world works. This parasha is a fundamental parasha in understanding our relationship with Hashem. It's not easy. I'm not asking anybody for blind faith. But when you develop a relationship with the Creator of the world, and you see that 9 times out of 10 you understand things are working out, they're the way they should, then even the things that don't work out, you don't know, because you don't understand the way the world works, but you can assume that this is also for the good, I just don't get it. That's why in a few weeks when we pray in the high holidays, we say, Hashem, we ask that He should be ma'avir, et ro'a hagzera. He should get rid of the bad part of the decrees that He's decreed on us. Hashem has decreed things that will happen to us. Hashem, get rid of the bad part. What does that mean? Just get rid of the decree. Why the bad part of the decree? What we're truly asking Hashem is, Hashem, I don't understand why you do what you do. I know. The prophet says, Yeshayahu, your thoughts are not my thoughts. Your actions are not my actions. We're running on a different wavelength. But Hashem, at least let me understand enough that when something that I normally would perceive to be negative, let me understand that it should be positive. Let me understand that at least it's a good thing. I don't need to understand everything, but help me understand that the bad things that I think are bad, you really weren't doing something bad to me. That's what we pray for. That's what we're asking for. Hashem, let us at least see the good part here, so we understand that you're really, because it's a test and it's a challenge for us sometimes. I want to be in a relationship with Hashem, but sometimes I feel like Hashem's picking on me. When we realize maybe it's not picking on you. We don't always make it to the other side. You know, when Moshe Rabbeinu sees Hashem, it says in the Torah, Moshe saw my back, but not my front. Rav Soloveitchik has an interesting piece there, where he says, what does it mean you see Hashem's back, but not his front? And I've said this before. You never see those like, what do they call them? They're like knitted pictures. There's a word for them.
Penny point.
What?
Needle point.
Needle point. You know what I'm talking about? They take like it's like you're sewing, what?
Crochet.
Is it crochet? Is that what it is?
Crochet.
No. Crochet is like scarves and stuff,
No.
right?
Needle
Cross
point.
stitch.
Cross stitch, is that what it's?
Isn't that what it is?
Whatever, we know what you're talking
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, the front side, you see this beautiful picture. You turn the back side of it, it's like, oh my gosh, who's the crazy person that did this? In our life, we're still looking at the back side of the world. We look at this whole thing, we're like, listen, if I was God, I could do a better job. Like, at least I know that these two colors should be in the same place. I mean, come on, Hashem, you don't even know that? And there's going to be a point where Hashem reveals himself to the world. We call him Mashiach. And that's when we feel like idiots. That's when we see the front of the picture. There's these talent shows. There's a famous talent show. This lady was painting and painting. You get like 3 minutes, and everyone's buzzing her out because it's the ugliest painting they ever saw. And then she turns over her painting, and it's this beautiful portrait of somebody famous. And all these judges who buzz her, they feel mamash like, how could we not see it? How are we so stupid? It's a talented artist, not just can paint upright, but he can paint upside down. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is greater than a talented artist. But at the very least, we assume that when we see the front side, it's all going to make sense to us. We just don't see the front side yet. So we say, Hashem, at least let us understand that all these random things that we don't really get why they're together, that they are together. And the things that happen to us, they're for the good. And sometimes the things you think that are bad for you, they're really a good thing for you. I'll end you off with a little joke I heard. I always have these stories. Oh no, I'll tell you the joke, you understand this time. There's once this guy gets in an airplane. I don't advocate this behavior, but it's just part of the... He's a Hasidic rabbi. He gets on an airplane, and the only seat that they have for him is next to a lady, and he doesn't want to sit next to that lady. Now, halachically, it's okay to sit next to a lady in an airplane. It's not what I came to push right now. And he's, listen, I don't want to make a commotion, but if there's the only seat you have, then I have to get off the plane. So he says, okay, so get off the plane. So he's walking out of the plane, he's carrying a suitcase, his roller bag, and some guy in first class, he asked the flight attendant, tell me, how much does the first class seat cost? She's like, now, like $6,000. He says, here's my card, book him a seat next to me. Wow. He takes his card, runs it there, they book a seat. The rabbi sits down, he's like, thank you so much, thank you, I can't believe you respect Torah so much, and you respect rabbis so much, and he's like, listen, Rabbi, I don't respect anything about you. So I know your guy's story. What's going to happen is you're going to get off the airplane, and this plane is going to go fly somewhere, it's going to crash into the Swiss Alps, and they're going to say, you see, the rabbi was saved from this flight because he wouldn't sit next to that lady on the plane, and because he upkept Hashem's Torah, he didn't die in this airplane crash. Says, Rabbi, if we're going to crash to the Swiss Alps, you're coming with me. Sometimes in life, you just HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever happens, whatever delay, Gam Zu L'Tova. This is also for the good. It must be for the good. I don't get it, but it must be. I gave before you a blessing and a curse. Follow in my ways, and you'll experience blessing. And if you don't, the other way. But just because you don't understand that blessing is always blessing doesn't mean you're not being blessed. Allah Hashem, bless us all, that Hashem shall allow us not just to experience blessings, but to experience the revelation of blessings, revealed blessings, blessings that we understand. and we shall only experience happy things and good things. And this Sunday is starting Elul. Hashem should tichle shana v'killotea. But this year and all of its curses end. Tachel shana u'vilchotea. Allow this year and all of its blessings to begin. B'ezrat Hashem, it should be a shana tova u'metuka, sweet and happy New Year.
Amen.